Well, welcome back. This is part 12 of the MG restoration. I've been working on a lot of little different things, mainly working on some of the wiring, getting the schematics done for how I'm going to wire it or rewire the car. Also cleaning and painting a lot of the small parts. It's really time consuming, but I'd like to have everything ready so when I'm ready to put the car back together after everything's painted and I'll have those things done, I can just bolt them on. I'm not doing any body work yet. I like to be able to do the body work outside in the driveway. That way it keeps the dust down in here, it keeps the shop a lot cleaner. But between the weather and the rain and cold and possibly snow, you never know when that's going to happen around here. I'm kind of holding off on all that. I don't really need to do it right now anyway. So anyway, this is part 12. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. I've been making up some wiring diagrams for the car, how things are going to work. While I've been working on the heater box, which you'll see in this episode, this is kind of the basic wiring, how I want to wire it up and make that part of that work. It's a little bit different than the stock system because of the high voltage in the heater core. And I just kind of drew a little sketch of where all the controls are on the stock dashboard. It's hard for me to remember what's what on the dash without having something to look at real quickly. What I'll show you here, this is a schematic wiring diagram that I redrew for the MG. Most everything on this side of it over here is all the original type of wiring for the lights. My plan is all of these lights, the headlights, turn signals, tail lights, will have LED bulbs in them, much lower current draw. But anyway, and then this is a new fuse panel here, relays that I can, another block for relays that I can expand on. The heater element, this is the high voltage side over here. My plan is to put a small contactor box in the upper front battery box with a contactor that sends a voltage to the heater core. This isn't complete yet, but it's getting there. The next drawing is kind of a sketch of how I wanted to do the lay out the contactor box with the high voltages going in and out. I don't have this complete yet either, but it's just something I'm working on when I'm not out in the garage. This is a really rough diagram of everything in the car electrically that has to be connected to each other. I can look at this and go, oh yeah, this goes to here and this has to go to there, but it's getting very complex. But once I get this all drawn out, I can keep it straight in my head, mostly, of where everything goes. I will show you some more things now that I've been up to. I've been working on the covering for the rear battery box and also the cargo area in the back. The original panel back here on the MGs were made out of wood. They're on the inside of the car, so just a painted wood panel works fine. They have the hinges up here in the front, and this front section is bolted down. And then there's a couple quarter turn fasteners in the corners to hold it down in place. The back here doesn't really have to be sealed. As you can see, it's open anyway. I will have to plug this on both sides. I will plug that with an aluminum panel or something just to seal that off. But anyway, it's a nice access panel. With this open, you'll be able to see the power converter, the charger contactor box, and the motor will be visible, and rear suspension up in the forward part. Let me open this up, and that is hinged. And Because this area here is open to the engine and the elements, I went ahead and put made this aluminum panel, just dress it up a little bit and also seal off the wood so it's not really exposed to the outside. I'm going to be putting some foam seal around here. I just put little pieces of it here just to act as spacers for now. But anyway, that'll be around this area here and back here. This I have the bottom plate off right now, but this will be open to the cabin air back here. But anyway, that should work out real nice. Got that made. Now I get to pull it all apart because I want to paint this. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. I've got the rear trunk board completed. I pulled off all the original hardware and cleaned it off, repainted it, and put some new stainless steel bolts. But both these pieces of wood are new. As you can see, there's no cutout here in the center. That was for the wire wheel hub that would stick up and hit the board, but that didn't need that there, or didn't need that to be there anymore. Also, there was some cutouts on the side here for the original spring type rear hatch supports that were up here, but I went to these hydraulic ones, so we didn't need those cutouts on both sides anymore. Anyway, these quarter turn fasteners, just release and then lift it up. I've welded in two mounts in the rear equipment box and did 4 holes in there for the contactor box. There's some screws that go down into these corners, the 4 corners, that will hold that in place. And this is the upper lid for it. My plan is the high voltage lines from the motor will come in here, and I'll have to drill some holes through here with some sealing type grommets. The contactor box has these little mounting pins or holes around here. I don't really want to drill any holes through here to mount the relay contactors and things. So what I'll probably do, I got some screws here. I'm going to tap these holes, and I'll probably put a plate of something non-conductive. It might even just be a real thin piece of wood, plywood or something, just so I can mount everything to in here. I don't know, I might use wood or plexiglass. I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. I got some screws that I can tap these holes, and that will hold that board in place. That way I can screw the things or mount everything on a board and just set it in here instead of drilling holes. I really don't want, I want to keep this box as sealed as I can. I don't know how important that would be because it's going to be in an enclosed area here, but every little bit helps, I guess. I've been working on the transmission tunnel. The original 3 Synchro, this is the position where the cover is, where the gear shift comes out. In the past, someone had changed this over to a 4 Synchro, and that meant that the gear shift lever was moved back. It was back in this position for it to work. They had a little metal spacer that they had in there, which I removed. But in doing so, they had cut this section out through here. So I made a new piece to fill this back in. I'm not going to be using this cover. So I made a new aluminum cover that will go over this, that will fit on over this. So anyway, that's what I'm working on now. I'll get this bolted on to show you what it looks like. But I didn't really see any need to fill this in, weld something in here. This will be fine. And this will be cleaned up a little bit more. But anyway, that's good enough. I have the plate bolted down where it's going to go. I went ahead and used all the existing 1/4 inch 28 bolt holes or nuts that were already in the transmission tunnel. I did have to add this one back here just to hold the back of this down, but with some sealant underneath, between this plate and the tunnel, it should seal off, fine. And this will all be covered with carpet and insulation. So, yeah, this a little bit lower profile than what was there before. The other one was up higher, but I wanted it to have just a clean, lower look to it. So I didn't have to reuse any of this. I just didn't want to. So anyway, this is the original console. It was mounted. Oops, it was mounted kind of right in there somewhere. Yeah, because you can see the cutout where the bolt holes were. I don't know if I'm going to reuse this or not, because I do want to use something that's lower. See where this comes across here. I might use a later one. This is the earlier one that had the speaker grill in there, and somebody had cut this one up, so I don't know if it's not much good for anything anyway. I might put a later model console in here. So anyway, that's done. I have the battery box frames painted. They came out really good. I still have to work on the 1/4 turn fasteners on the lid here, but I've got the brackets for the bottom side welded on. Also, what I'm doing to help put these into or lower these into the car, because of their weight, I'm putting some lifting hooks on here. There'll be one here and one over on this side. That way I'll be able to use the engine hoist and lower these down in, and once they're in position I can pull these out. The same with the top of the battery box. I can just pull these off, put them on this side, and that will help get these loaded battery boxes into the car when they're ready. Well, this last week I've been working on the heater box. This is what I came up with. This is the original Smith's heater that was in the MG. I modified it, extending this. Usually this top plate here just clips on the front part of this. I went ahead and cut it up, made some new metal pieces. This is all welded together now. It really didn't need to come off. This is an original type heater core that's has water coming in, hot water from the engine, and the blower blows this down into the ducts, the heater ducts and defroster ducts. This cannot be used anymore because there is no water. So this is an electric ceramic heater element. This was sold, I got this one through EV West. It operates on 200 to 420 volts. The battery system in the car is going to be 325, so that fits right in there in the range for this. The high voltage plugs in here. There's the cabling I have for it and the connector. Anyway, and this is the duct that goes on the bottom of the box that deflects for the off position heat and then defrost, or full defrost. Anyway, I've got this all rebuilt the motor. It all functions really well. I've tested it, the motor. I have not tested the heater core yet because I don't have the high voltage set up. The upper battery box fits right up about this area here, so there's plenty of clearance between the motor and the front of the heater core that I built onto here. So yeah, I think this will work good. I've been cleaning a lot of the parts, the small parts. These are all things for the heater box that go under the dash. I media blasted these with some glass media, glass beads I should say. I got those cleaned up, painted. Fortunately, all these little rubber pieces are still in good condition. I can reuse those. Started working on the brake assembly. The brake pedal, I want to move over to the left, away from where the throttle pedal is. So I heated. This is the original brake pedal. It originally had a bend in it opposite of this, so it came over and down. So it was over right about in this area. I went ahead and heated it so it's straight. My plan is, because I won't be needing this clutch pedal at all, so I'll just use a spacer up here and eliminate this. I'm thinking about making a wider pedal on here on the brake. It doesn't have to be this small. It could be twice or 3 times this size. It doesn't have to be that small anymore. Anyway, that's my plan there. I'm getting these things cleaned up. I blasted this, got it ready to paint. A bunch of other small components I've been working on, the door latches and things. I've got those glass beaded off. Anyway, just work in progress, I guess. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.